Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us here at Metropolitan Police Headquarters. I'm Muriel Bowser, the Mayor of Washington, D.C. I'm joined by the Chief of Police, Peter Newsham, as well as the Deputy Mayor for Public Safety and Justice, Kevin Donahue, and Lieutenant Andrew Shuar, who is the Narcotics Enforcement Division Lieutenant. We're here to highlight a few things today. We are particularly going to focus on the Narcotics Enforcement Unit and its recent successes. We are, of course, focused in our administration on public safety. It's the top on our agenda each and every day to ensure that neighborhoods and residents of the District of Columbia are safe. I am pleased with the work of MPD and the strategies that the chief is employing throughout our city. We are seeing all violent crime down across the District of Columbia. We have just a few words about the chief's focus, and then you're going to hear from the chief, that we've strengthened our sector policing policies. We've doubled down on our body-worn camera program so that all of our patrol officers have body-worn cameras to help strengthen our accountability and transparency with the public. And we are very focused on training up our next set of police leaders and attracting and retaining officers. And through our specialized narcotics unit, we've worked to recover illegal firearms and reduce crime related to illegal drugs. And that's what we want to focus on today. With Kathy Lanier about 2 years ago, we talked about this strategy. This strategy sets out to accomplish two important things. One, to provide public safety officials with the tools they need to crack down on suppliers, and two, to ensure that residents get connected to resources they need to fight and recover from drug use and addiction. So I am very proud that since the NEU has been in formation, it has been a vital part of this strategy. And not quite 4 months into this year, the unit has already recovered more guns than they recovered at the same point in time last year. The team has also seized large amounts of narcotics, including synthetics, cocaine, heroin, PCP, and methamphetamine. Identifying crime patterns and removing dangerous offenders and weapons are key to how we will drive down all violent crime, homicide, and assaults with guns. So with that, I want to turn to the chief.
Thank you. Thanks, Mayor Bowser. Morning, everybody. Because it is Public Safety Week, we would like to turn our focus on highlighting some of the various ways MPD works to keep the District of Columbia safe. Here at the Metropolitan Police Department, we want to be flexible and innovative in how we achieve our goals of public safety. Violence stemming from illegal firearms and illegal drug sales in our city is an important concern, especially as we head into the summer months. As you remember, back in late 2015, there were a lot of community concerns raised about MPD's vice units. To address those concerns, MPD professionalized our plainclothes operations by consolidating them under our Narcotics and Special Investigations Division. As part of this consolidation, we created the Narcotics Enforcement Unit. The goal of this unit was to focus on the distribution of drugs in our community and not on the users. Officers were hand-selected to be a part of the team, and they were provided with additional training. The goal was to create a highly professionalized plainclothes unit with a laser focus on drug distributors who were contributing to violence in our city. The cause of drug use is a public health issue called addiction, whereby the cause of drug sales is a human condition known as greed. It is a greed that dismisses the notion of community and has no place in our society. To the extent that this greed is contributing to violence in our city, MPD is focused on addressing it. On the addiction side, as you know, the mayor has proposed in her 2018 budget nearly $1 million for MPD to work with the Department of Behavioral Health on a program to get low-level offenders treatment. We have come to realize that arresting those with addictions is not solving our problems. On the distribution side, we're extremely pleased to announce some of the successes of our Narcotics Enforcement Unit. I must note that the men and women on this unit face some of the most difficult dangers that law enforcement faces. They are involved in very high-risk operations, but they do it in a highly effective, safe, and respectful way. In 2016, the Narcotics Enforcement Unit recovered over $200,000 worth of illegal drugs, including crack cocaine, PCP, heroin, synthetic cannabinoids, and methamphetamines. In 2017, they have already recovered another $90,000 worth of illegal drugs. This year alone, the unit has recovered almost 50 illegal firearms, and you can see some of those firearms that are on display here today. This is an increase from all of last year, where they recovered 42. To keep the public informed, every day we provide a report to the district listservs that highlights the work that this unit has done, so people in the community can know the work that's being done in their particular communities. Today, we'd like to commend the Narcotics Enforcement Unit for their professional, safe, and respectful work that they have done, and we'd like to reemphasize our commitment to reducing violence in the District of Columbia. I'm now going to call up Andy Struhar to say a few words.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor Bowser. My name is Andy Struhar, and I've been a member of the Metropolitan Police Department since 1994. During that time, I've had the privilege of serving the department in several challenging roles by supervising the ATF Gun Trafficking Task Force, the FBI Safe Streets Task Force, and the Gang Intelligence Unit. By far, one of the most satisfying things that I've experienced in this job is seeing immediate results of efforts that we take to keep this city safe. Managing the Narcotics Enforcement Unit and Major Case Unit at the Narcotics and Special Investigations Division, I see immediate results of the work that our officers do every day. Whether it's responding to citizens' concerns about drug activity in their area or using intelligence to target drug traffickers, we know that we are achieving our goals. Our unit uses both uniformed and plainclothes officers in various capacities. We also have the support and assistance of officers and units all throughout the district, and that allows us to be far more effective. The men and women who work in our Narcotics Enforcement Unit do extremely dangerous work every day. Of course, that pays off in the immediate results we see reducing the amount of drugs in the District of Columbia. In 2016, like the Chief and the Mayor stated, we recovered over $200,000 in illegal drugs, including cocaine, crack cocaine, PCP, heroin, synthetic cannabinoids, and methamphetamines. In 2017, we are continuing to aggressively target drug dealers and remove illegal drugs. As of this week, we have seized over $90,000 in illegal substances. This year alone, we have already recovered at least 50 guns as part of our operations, even though the NEU's primary mission is reduction in drug-related crimes. As part of that mission, it also involves, like I stated, in removing illegal firearms off the street. As part of MPD's aggressive push to remove as many illegal firearms from the streets as possible, NEU is providing significant contributions. Our officers know that the more illegal firearms we remove from the streets of the District of Columbia, the safer we will all be, residents, officers, and visitors. Chief Newsham mentioned that the work done by NEU is extremely dangerous. We provided some of the examples of the firearms that we recovered from our operations. As you can see, we recover a variety of firearms. All of these pose a danger to both residents and the officers recovering them, and we are focused on getting them off the streets. This means that we are reducing the number of guns in the district overall. As we head into the summer, I urge residents to be aware of any illegal or suspicious activity going on in their neighborhood and to contact MPD if they see anything unusual or concerning. You can contact us anonymously by calling 202-727-9099 or by texting 50411. We are here to help. We are here to make you safer. The best way for us to do that is to work together. Thank you.
Take any questions that you have?
Chief, I noticed that you have an extended clip there in one of those bags. Are you seeing more extended clips now on the street?
For the past several years, we are starting to see, it seems like we're seeing an uptick in the number of extended magazines that we are recovering. And as you know, when you have extended magazines, it gives the person who's handling the firearm the ability to fire that many more rounds without reloading. So they're extremely dangerous. If you look at some of the shootings that we have had in the city, there's an indication that a large number of rounds are being fired. So when these guns are being utilized, they're creating an extreme danger to anyone who's in the vicinity.
Do you know where these clips are coming from?
We do not really have a sense. We met with the ATF. I met with the leadership of the ATF earlier this week. We do know that the majority of the firearms that are coming into our city are coming from the state of Virginia, followed second by the state of Maryland. And it's the firearms, the rules for purchasing firearms in those two states that are contributing to the amount of guns that we're seeing here in the district. And the other point I think is important to note is that a lot of those sales are straw purchases. So there doesn't appear to be a one group that's bringing guns in large numbers. It's people are going out into Virginia making straw purchases and bringing the weapons back to the district. Peter?
Do you have any specific cases that you talk about that have either led to arrests by the courts that are significant in terms of this unit and what it's done?
Yeah, I think the goal here today was really kind of to stress the overall effectiveness of the unit. The focus here for the Metropolitan Police Department, and I think it's important for people to know this, is to focus on the people who are selling the drugs. And not only the people who are selling the drugs, but the people who are selling the drugs that are leading to violence in our city. And the way that you marry those two issues up is you look at where we are having violence and you look for the drug sales in those particular areas. And if you can see, as we have changed our focus to the distributors who are contributing to the violence, I think that the firearms that you see here recovered 50. That they only recovered 42 all of last year. So I think this focus is really having an impact. And if you look at our violent crime numbers right now in the city, we have reductions in all of our violent crime categories. And I think if we continue these type of efforts throughout our summer months, we're going to continue to be successful. Megan?
Chief, you've already eclipsed the number of firearms that have been recovered from last year. What do you attribute that to? Or was there a especially big haul that you guys found, or why so many?
There's a couple of things that I have tried to do since I've taken on this role, is really to have our officers, and it's all of our police officers, our specialized units, but also all of our patrol officers, to focus on the firearms. I mean, I've said this a number of times publicly, that the largest motive that we have for the shootings that are occurring in our city is these petty disputes. Some of it is drug-related, of course, and so you have to address that. But when you introduce a firearm, an illegal firearm, into a petty dispute, the next thing you know, you have a shooting. And so we have all 3,800 police officers, we have the Metropolitan Police Department, with a laser focus on getting these illegal firearms off the street. And that's why I would say that we have seen an increase in the numbers that we're recovering. Sam?
So, Chief, you were talking the other day about the summer initiative that you have. And of course, yesterday in Northeast Washington, we saw a situation where 3 kids were shot on a basketball court, shell casings all over Evarts Street. What are you going to do about something like that? Obviously, it reminds me of the 90s. I don't recall hearing a lot about that kind of thing recently.
Well, you know, from time to time, the good news is that you don't hear about it as often as we used to. That's the great news. The bad news is that it does happen still in our city. And I think that if we continue on this path of getting these illegal firearms off the street, if we have a community that is committed to making sure that these things don't happen. And the role that our community plays is, if they know anybody that was involved in this thing yesterday on Franklin Street at a basketball court, they gotta let us know about it. And I go to community meetings all the time, and people, they don't want this. They don't want this in the District of Columbia. We are there side by side with them in agreement that we don't want this happening in the District of Columbia. And our goal is to make sure that it doesn't happen. I think this is a very effective way of doing it. And the thing that I will ask our community is to continue to be a partner and give us information. Any tidbit of information that they have about what happened yesterday on Franklin Street, please share it with us, and we'll see what we can do and make sure that we hold the folks that are responsible.
You talked about having 6 specific areas that you were going to focus on, 5 of them east of the river, 1 of them I guess, in Ward 5, I would assume, based
Yes.
on the violence over there. What is that going to mean? You said a police captain in charge, and then more officers. Tell us something about that.
That is the Summer Crime Initiative is something we've done for the past 9 years. And if you look at the overall declines in violent crime that we've had in our city, a part of those declines are because of our Summer Crime Initiative. If you look at, and what we do is we look back at the previous years and we identify areas in the city that continue to be plagued with violence. And then, as we all know, during the summer months, that's a time when there does appear to be an uptick in violence. So during the summer months, we put additional resources in those areas. We have some of our captains that are engaged. They volunteer to be involved in this initiative to focus on violence in those areas. We identify the people of interest who create problems or have created problems in those areas in the past. We let them know this is an area where we're not going to have any violence this year. And if you look at those areas over the past several years, crime continues to go down. So this has been very effective for us in reducing crime overall in our city, but in particular in those areas that have been plagued with violent crime. So we're very, I think the program is excellent. Mark?
Chief, can you clarify the guns, the increased number over last year is just the NEU unit, correct? Not the overall?
We can get to the overall numbers. Between 2015 and 2016, we actually increased the number of firearms we recovered. I think that increase was more than 150 more firearms that we recovered between 15 and 16. I can get you the numbers year to date for 17 if you want.
That's overall, right? So overall, you've recovered more guns this year than the 49 that the narcotics
This unit recovered, I think, 42 last year. And so far this year, that was the whole year last year, they recovered 42. So far this year, they've recovered almost 50. So that's for this unit in particular.
Just
and
that
you want
unit.
The overall guns recovered
That's what
by
I'm trying to
MPD,
clarify.
I can get you that.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Pete, you released 3 videos this morning of 3 robberies. Looks like men jumping counters. Looks like at pharmacies. One has what looks like a real nasty gun, like a Mac 11 or something like that. You also had a similar kind of gun used at the homicide at 22nd in Alabama. Video that you retweeted again on Monday. How frightening is that to see these kinds of weapons on the street? Are you seeing more of those kinds of weapons? And just one other part to that, in that shooting at 22nd in Alabama, there were as many as, I think, 40 shell casings on the scene. Was that an automatic weapon?
We can't say for sure until we recover that exact weapon. Those long guns are very, very powerful weapons. When a round comes out of one of those long guns, it has the ability to travel very long distances unless it hits something. So they're extremely dangerous in an environment where we're only about 67 square miles. Those rounds can travel very long. There's very, very dangerous weapons. I don't believe right now that we are seeing an increase in the number of the long guns that we're recovering when we compare that to last year. But I will agree with you that it's an extremely dangerous weapon. And the other thing that I will say about those long guns is they're very difficult to conceal. So my sense is that when you have a situation like we had over there on Alabama Avenue the other day, somebody knows exactly who that is, and somebody saw that gun, and they know exactly who it is, and they need to come forward and let us know who that is. We're making some pretty good progress in that case, but we really need the piece of information that's going to put us over the edge. All right, well, thank you very much.
Mayor Bowser, can we ask you, the chief had mentioned part of the component of mental health and substance abuse options for people,
Sure.
And I know you released your plan yesterday, I believe. Can you tell us how that kind of plays into reducing gun violence and the narcotics problem in the city?
Well, yesterday, we started today, let me just say, in partnership with the governor of Maryland and the governor of Virginia, talking about opioid addiction and opioid overdoses across our region. So that just put a highlight on how public health and public safety safety interact, and how and the impact of addiction, what it has in our communities. So what the chief referred to a little bit earlier is a program that we are proposing in our budget that hopefully will free up police resources to work on what we talked about today. And those are the suppliers who are violent, who have guns, and who are wreaking the most violence in our community. If we are successful with our DBH and MPD program, and I think we will be, when MPD identifies a person who's committing a crime, and that crime is that they're buying drugs or using drugs, they're addicts, we, instead of taking them to jail, we will be able to refer them to a better mental health substance abuse resource. So we have budgeted for mental health personnel to, in some cases, co-respond with the police to situations like that. I think you may be referring to a plan that we issued yesterday that involves mental health resources in our schools. And right now, all of our schools, all of our public schools aren't covered. I think, I'm not going to remember the percent of the schools and the percent of the time that they have a mental health resource. But what we are proposing is to expand the number and the level of service that mental health providers along a spectrum can provide at schools. And that way we'll get more coverage. More of our schools will be covered for more of the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.